stuck in my gobstopper.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Nazi punks! Lick my plate! Drainage!
It'll be 10 minutes where it's like a Steven Soderbergh Ocean's 11 movie. It's all slick and funny and stuff. Then just the most horrific shit imaginable will happen.
It's because that's what the fucking movie's about, you asshole. This fucking guy.
The Tree of Life is freaking awesome.
I'm sure you think it is.
Faded to black.
Oh, you are fucking this up.
Neon slime. My basement. Oh, but I got the right answer. Oh, no, you fucking didn't, mate.
Jared Leto, man.
You're the worst, dude. If you ever listen to this, Jared Leto, you are the fucking worst. But I'd rather watch that dude, the English dude, who looks like he's not done yet.
So, hey, counselor! We are now in the ninth circle! The circle of traitors! Traitors to the country! Traitors to the fellow man! Traitors to God! She looked like a stunned mullet, mate! A what?
This movie is the opposite of getting laid.
Thank you to all our listeners who have been listening to us for over a year now. Subscribe to us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and any other platform that has podcasts. Visit our Patreon page, become a Patreon to get more additional content. Again, we appreciate you listening and keep watching those movies. Now, on with the show.
Mr. Lane, this Warden Tubbs. Everything all right in there? You got 1 minute.
Doug.
Yeah.
I just wish I would have taught you how to use the Pro Tools.
Oh, I know.
Taught you how to use the mixer. I'm really gonna miss the podcast.
Oh, it's gonna miss you too.
Can you just do me a favor?
Of course I can.
Can you just place the phone close to the mixer one more time for me?
Oh, of course. You got it. Hey, by the way, we just got 12 more downloads, 28 more likes.
Hi, mixer. Just want to tell you how awesome you are. You're gonna find a really good home from the pawn shop. Because these two fucking dumb shits don't know how to run you.
Mr. Lane, come out from behind that door and put your hands in the air.
I've got 45 seconds. I just want to tell you, I love you guys.
We love you too now.
Mr. Lane, come on out now. Put your hands up.
88 episodes, I'm still fucking broke. Fuck this goddamn. This episode is brought to you by Table Rock Creative. Now, Lee Bridges, Doug Wall, and Garrick Lane. It's Brawl in Video Store 88. How we doing, fellas?
Doing good, doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good. Well, we are doing this again because Fat Finger over here deleted the track. So this is the second time we're running through this. Hey guys, it's voting day, and we don't get political tales from the video store, but I will say this. I voted for Rory Cooper last year. Went out of my comfort zone, to say the least, and he had promised to bring back tax incentives for production in North Carolina, and honestly, I didn't look at anything else besides that promise to us, and so I voted for him. Well, he didn't do that. He didn't do anything. I don't even think he ever even put the bill up. So, when you go out and vote today, know who you're voting for, do your research, and vote for the person that you think is going to be the best for your children. There, that's all I got to say about that. However, it's not really going to matter because you only get 4 years, or you get 8 years, and then the other party, until the two parties come together and do the exact same thing, it's just going to be this back and forth.
Shut up.
All right.
I'm already over it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Well, that's because you've had to hear it twice. All right, man, let's roll.
True.
Let's roll this thing, man. You got some news for us.
I do. Unfortunately, it's bad news because, as I'm sure most people listening already know, Sean Connery passed away on Halloween.
Yes, it's terrible.
But, you know, I mean, he was 90 years old. He was one of the biggest movie stars ever. You know, probably, you know, he was probably the biggest movie star in the world, I'd say, from the, you know, early 60s to about the mid 70s. You know, and just, there'll never be another anyone like him, you know.
No, there won't. And it's funny because, you know, I saw somebody on Facebook, man, say something pretty profound that I really took to heart. They said, you know, I don't remember. I'll always remember Sean Connery as James Bond, but Henry Jones is always the one that sticks out. And I think that that's with me, too. As much as I loved him as James Bond, I think my favorite role that Sean Connery ever was Harrison. They did so well. It was almost like they were. It was almost like he was, you know, Harrison Ford's father. And it's funny because Harrison Ford paid tribute to Sean Connery, and I'll read it. He says, "He was my father, not in real life, but in Indy 3. But in Indy 3, he says, you don't know pleasure until someone pays you to take Sean Connery for a ride in the sidecar of a Russian motorcycle, bouncing along a bumpy, twisty mountain trail, and getting to watch him squirm." He said, "Ford shared, God, we had fun. If he's in heaven, I hope they have golf courses. Rest in peace, dear friend." That's pretty awesome. Sean Connery will always be missed. Hunt for Red October. Almost everything he did was great.
I was reading a similar story Michael Bay was talking about when they were shooting the Rock.
Oh, dude, the Rock. Yeah, that was one I just
Michael Bay was operating the camera during the big car chase where Sean Connery's driving the Humvee down the streets of San Francisco, and he had to slam on the brakes. And Michael Bay said his head went and hit the window really hard, the windshield really hard. Sean Connery just stopped, freaked out, said, "Are you okay?" He said, "I'm fine. I'm more worried about having to deal with the Disney execs today because it was a Touchstone movie." He said, "They're not giving us enough money and I have all these effects I want to shoot and everything." And he said, "When is the meeting?" He's like, "At 3 or whatever it was." And he's like, "I'll be there at 3:05. And it said Sean Connery walks in, everybody immediately stands up, he just shakes everybody's hand, tells them how great it's going, and he says, "And by the way," he said, "the boy needs more money for these explosions," and just walked out, and they immediately just gave it to him. And on a movie set, when Sean Connery said something, that's how it went. So they ended up getting the extra money to finish the movie. Yeah, another story I read was David Mamet was talking about when he was writing the Untouchables, he had to have a phone call with Sean Connery. So basically, Sean Connery could sort of approve him and the script. And before he talked to Sean Connery, he was talking to his cousin, who was in her husband had just left her, and she was getting her kicked out of her house, and having all these problems. And so he was talking to her. Then he told her he had to get off the phone because he had to talk to Sean Connery. And she said, "Well, just tell him he's my favorite actor." And so when they were talking on the phone, he kind of mentioned, just, in passing, mentioned about his cousin and all the problems she was having. He was like, "What's her phone number?" And he gave it to her. And then like 2 hours later, David Mamet said his cousin called back and said Sean Connery talked to her for like an hour. And basically just encouraged that everything was going to be okay and just encouraged her to, keep pushing on. Which I can't imagine there are many movie stars that would do something like that. Yeah. Definitely not now.
No, definitely not now. Paul Newman was known to do stuff like that, too.
Yeah.
Very approachable.
Yeah, it's always good to hear stories like that, because you kind of think of these people as, like they get sort of spoiled by fame and stuff, and when you hear the opposite, that's always nice to hear.
Sean Connery.
But yeah, going back to Connery, I don't think there'll never be anyone who will be, like, whoever's the top movie star now, like, in 50 years will not still be famous. People won't have careers like that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably not.
Like in 50 years, The Rock will not still be doing Fast and Furious movies. He'll be like the governor of California or something.
Right. It's more disposable now, I feel like. It's not...
Yeah.
You got rid of the Hollywood system. You get rid of the Hollywood system where they're under contract, and You know, you see people. You see people do like 6, 7 movies and they get kind of famous and they get blown up on TikTok and social media and then they disappear into obscurity.
They say the wrong thing or get seen with the wrong person and then that's the end of that.
Right. Or, and then, you know, and maybe it's just, you know, it's like, I thought Kevin Costner was done. But he's over here on Paramount TV doing Yellowstone. So maybe it's, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a different world. It's not like, those guys like Humphrey Bogart, Paul Newman,
these guys,
Robert Redford,
look,
those
these
guys
are the
guys.
guys. These are the men's men. They are the poster boys for what is, you know, what some people would refer to as being like toxic masculinity, which I think is an hilarious fucking term. And that's why these guys, and Connery might have been at the head of the class when it comes to that. He's just a badass motherfucker that women wanted to be with and guys wanted to be like. That's it.
That's true.
That's it, dude. I never watched Sean Connery in anything and thought, oh, God, I watched him and I was like, fuck, I wish I was him.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like, he is fucking awesome.
I think
he doesn't even try. I don't even know how he's doing his voice, but it's like fucking magic.
Yeah, dude, right.
Like, he's just that... He's that guy. And
because no other Scottish person sounds like Sean Connery.
No!
He's just... It's like, you know... It's like Liam Neeson. No other Irish person sounds like Liam Neeson. They just... People say, maybe that's part of it. They have those distinct voices.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of their appeal.
It's part of his charm, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different world.
And his legend. If you ever hear anybody talking like this, they're doing a fucking Sean Connery impersonation. There's nobody else. It's him and that's it.
Yeah, that's
He's the fucking standard, dude. You know, people are like, he was the best Bond and all this. Maybe. But he's the baddest ass of all of them. Like, but if you lined up all James Bonds and put them in a line and you were like, pick the guy out of this lineup that you think is probably, you know, the most realistic guy to this character. It's fucking, all he has to do is open his mouth and say like 3 sentences and you're like, that's that fucking dude.
Well, Tom Mankiewicz, who wrote a lot of the Bond movies in the 60s and 70s, also wrote, I think, the first 2 Christopher Reeve Supermans. He said it that, like, Sean Connery could be at a table with a woman, and the woman turns out to be an evil spy, and he stabs her with the steak knife, and she dies. She, like, slumps over the table. And then the waiter comes by and he says, excuse me, could you bring me another knife? I seem to have misplaced mine. He said the audience would accept that. He said, but if Roger Moore did that, it would be so out of character that it would just have ruined the movie. Because he played it so light, whereas Sean Connery seemed like James Bond.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's basically what we're talking about. He just, whether he was a British spy or a Russian submarine captain, you know, you just believed it. He was authentic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with his character from The Rock, you know, the only man that escaped Alcatraz. Fuck, I believe it.
I believe it, yeah.
Of course he did. Look at him. Listen to him. Of course he did.
That shot in The Rock when they take him out of his prison cell at the beginning, and he's got long hair and they've got the shackles on him. He looks like he's 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the best line is, losers go home.
Damn your accent. Give it to me. Hold on, breathe. Give it to me one more time. Come on. Focus.
Losers talk about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. That's the best shit The Rock ever.
It is.
It may be the worst accent ever. Jesus Christ.
It was like the Bronx mixed in with...
So, you know, fuck off. What's Sean Connery's best
You've
movie?
got to talk like this if you're going to try and do a Connery, Garrick.
That's good. Say Octopussy for me.
Octopushy.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, he was a man. Well, you know, and the last couple of his movies were, but at that point, dude, When you're 80, what does it matter? One of Paul Newman's last movies was Message in a Bottle with Robin Wright Penn and Kevin Costner. At that point in time, who cares? Hey, this is just another paycheck for my grandkids. Let's just do it.
Yeah, at that point, you just want to work. I don't really think it matters if it's the biggest movie.
Exactly.
Well, it's similar to when you remember that movie About Schmidt with Jack Nicholson came out.
But that was good.
Well, but I thought watching it, I was like, this is his last movie. He's done 5 fucking movies since then.
He hasn't done any lately. As Good as It Gets has been his last one, man, which makes me...
The Departed, you fucking idiot.
Okay, you're right.
Jesus Christ. As Good as It Gets was in, 96. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Am I at the wrong fucking podcast?
You're right. I totally
Jesus Christ.
So that was his last movie, then. That was years ago. That was years ago.
Okay.
He's going to be like Sean Connery. He's just going to kind of disappear for 5 years, and then we're going to hear he died.
Well, when you get... fuck.
No, Jack Nicholson is immortal. He can't die.
So is Sean Connery, as far as I'm
Paul Newman.
They're they're all on the the masculinity,
Robert Redford.
Badass
The only guy left who's still of age that goes on that board is Brad Pitt. I think that Brad Pitt was the last dude, like the old actors like Sean Connery and Paul Newman, that will go down as a cool dude. You know what I mean? Just that old school, Tom Cruise won't. Tom Cruise won't. Because Tom Cruise has done different things. But I'm just telling you.
Tom Cruise might, because the legend of Tom Cruise might actually be greater than the actual Tom Cruise.
Okay, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
I mean, let's think about this, dude. We're talking a guy that a lot of people thought had peaked in 1988. He's still kicking out shit, and it's 2020, and he's doing all the fucking stunts, and he's wanting to do a fucking movie in space. I mean, look, he might be a crazy motherfucker. I think we can all agree on that. But
we definitely can.
But let's not use that to underscore, that dude's a fucking legend, man.
Did you see the footage of him on top of the train?
Oh, for the newest...
Mission Impossible, those guys are driving down the street, and they just happen to look up, and there he is standing on top of a moving train,
Smiling.
And he just waves at him. That's why he's the biggest movie star in the world, because, like you said, we all agree he belongs to an insane cult.
Yes.
All right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's that famous where, he belongs to a cult that I think is dangerous. But I still love Mission Impossible.
Dude, and you know what? I don't give a fuck. I love most of Tom Cruise's movies, but after Tropic Thunder, dude.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you sit here and you're like, oh, well, Brad Pitt's the last one. This dude is 10 years older than Pitt.
Right, but I'm talking about that old, Tom Cruise doesn't feel like old school Hollywood. That's all I'm saying. It's a weird thing.
Because in the 80s, he was the new school of Hollywood.
Maybe.
And coming in with the Rat Pack and all that.
Maybe it's the roles they play. Maybe Brad Pitt's more slick. Paul Newman's roles.
How slick was Brad Pitt in that fucking
12 Monkeys?
Well, I was going to ask about the fucking Mr. Black, where he's like the devil or death. How fucking cool was he in that? He wasn't. He wasn't.
Okay, and Tom Cruise...
Answer, he wasn't.
He wasn't. And Tom Cruise did Vanilla Sky. What's the difference?
Hey, I still like Vanilla Sky. Come on.
All right.
It's terrible. It's so good. I love it.
Hey, you know what, Doug? You and I will meet each other in the next life when we're both fucking cats. Moving on. Jesus Christ. Fuck. It's a man's Hollywood. The old school man, whatever. Tom Cruise is awesome. They're both awesome, whatever. Cool. All right. Well, great. All right. So the next order of business is the Mank trailer. I really think it's my next Phantom Thread, dude. It looks so... Doug's choking.
Oh, man.
I think it looks phenomenal. Right.
It does.
Really, Lee? It's black and white.
It looks like a movie shot in the 40s. I mean, you can't say anything better than that. Like if you didn't know it was Gary Oldman and all these people, if you just like someone who wasn't really familiar with actors, you just showed them a clip from it, and then showed them a clip from Stagecoach. Like these movies were shot around the same time, they would probably say yes.
Right. Oh, it looks great. I'm sorry.
It's Fincher.
But Fincher. Yep, you're right. And it's. What did he say? What was the quote? I think you used it a couple of episodes ago. He wanted it to look like he had pulled it out of Martin Scorsese's basement.
Yeah, and I think it does. I mean,
he made something that he thought would be inspiring and old, and
dude, it looks so good. I can't wait.
Oh, dude, you got two of my favorites. You got Gary Oldman running the lead. This crazed fucking alcoholic fucking writer, and then you've got the man behind the camera, Fincher, dude. Something like that where you can tell that both of them put so much into it, and because it means so much to them both, I think, then I expect the performances to reflect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be that good.
He's been trying to make this movie since he made 7. I mean, so it's, I'm very excited.
It's already getting Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
So, but
now see, this is what Netflix should be doing, because if this movie came out in the theaters, it would get a limited release, and it would, it would do all right. It would maybe make a couple million, but it wouldn't. It probably wouldn't make the budget back. And
I think a lot more people will watch it.
Exactly, on Netflix, because people can just this is the type of stuff they should be doing.
They've got that list. It's like their top 10. When this comes out, it's going to be in the top 3. People, I'm sure just your average Joe looks at that list and they're like, "Well, let's check this out."
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
We shall see. Well, I know. So Halloween was last week, but Halloween Kills trailer came out.
Teaser.
What do we do? Are we still doing this? Like, are we still there?
I think. Here's what I'm thinking.
I
think that when they shot the one that we watched, I don't know,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think that they went ahead and shot the next 2 as well, and then just put them in the can, and they're just going to release them. I think one next year, and then one the year after, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Really, that shows you the power of the first movie. Because even though we know we're not going to like it that much,
we're still going to watch it.
We're still going to watch it because it gives you a little feeling of the original, even in the parts you do or don't like. Basically you watch it so you can try to attain that feeling of watching the first one. Even though it'll never be that.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the new Ghostbusters. We're all pre-disappointed, but at the same time, that sort of 1984 feeling, that's what you're trying to get back to. That original high, so to speak.
Lee, do you remember the killer's name from the first Halloween? Who played Michael Myers?
Nick Castle was the guy who directed he directed Major Payne. He's a kids movie director.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you, and you obviously don't know his contract, so I don't know if there was buyouts back then. But do you think that he is still making royalties when they keep making these movies because he was a part of the first one? Do you think he's still getting paid?
I would hope so. I mean,
I don't know how many people have played.
Since his face wasn't actually shown, I don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's where I was going. That's crazy that
Yeah.
It's one of those legalities. I mean, I'm sure John Carpenter's making.
Oh,
it's like Robert Englund for the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. He was the only one.
But did he make?
Right.
But when Jackie Earl Jones got into the costume and they did the 16th Nightmare installment, did he get the kick? Did he get a kickback too because he was a part?
Probably
of
not for the remake. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's weird. I'd love to know that. I might have to look that up and have you an answer. I know we're still in Halloween and now we're in November, and I really hate to bring up more Halloween and horror because we did it for so long.
Well, but I mean, last week was was Halloween. I mean, that's what I watched too, man. So don't worry about it. Even though nothing was, well, we'll get into that.
Well, there was a scientific study that said that Hereditary was the scariest film of all time. In a new scientific study. What the fuck were they watching?
I think that it's like measuring your.
Did they do like the Clockwork Orange and put their did they bring their eyeballs up and put a pulse on them? Like, what are they talking about?
Maybe they might have, because it is a very I could definitely feel like if you were measuring not anxiety and stuff, and just I don't know,
dread.
It does make you feel weird.
Yeah,
it's a very affecting movie, even though I don't particularly like it. I'll admit that. Like, there are a lot of horror movies I really like I love the movie Fright Night, but it affects me virtually none. Like, I'm just watching it because I love it. But Hereditary does, like, you do get kind of weird feelings while you're... Maybe that's what they were going by. I don't know.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, maybe.
Measuring brain waves and...
Yeah.
Heart, your heartbeat and that sort of thing, I guess. But I still find it very difficult to believe that Hereditary was even a movie that would be in anyone's... I don't know. Top.
Oh, dude, there are people who love that movie.
Yeah. And I get it. I understand it. For a newer generation that missed out on movies like The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
This is their Rosemary's Baby, so to speak.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
And I get it. It's just wasn't for us.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Only two more things on Halloween. We can get moving. My buddy Jonathan Nichols. He's a fellow DP. We worked on the Real Dirty Dancing together, and man, he's just he's actually far more progressed than I am. He's a mastermind on the camera. He and his girlfriend, I saw on Facebook, they actually dressed up. He dressed up as the bear, and she dressed up as the girl from Midsommar to go to a costume party. And I couldn't stop laughing because I thought that was hilarious. She had the flowers and he was the bear. And I was like, oh, that's pretty inventive. Good job. Even though I hated that movie,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I don't ever want to get it again.
And, hey, I posted, I sent you guys my son as a Joker.
Garrick, I owe you an apology.
Oh, yeah?
Look,
What? I'm sorry, say that again.
River's outfit was outstanding, and he looked great. So you should feel good about it.
Say that again.
I said you should feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You should feel good about what you did.
Yeah. It turned out good, but it was definitely we definitely did a Waterworld on that costume.
Well, I hope you had a good time.
Overboard.
Hope you had a good time.
They did have a good time. All right, so let's get into this, man. All right, so this movie is...
What movie are we on?
We are on Cell Block, a brawl in Cell Block 99. And now let me just...
Not Brawl in the Video Store 88.
Well, we could do that one too.
Right.
So this movie, let's just footnote this. This was Lee's first Pick-a-Flick video on episode 1.
Back in 2001.
Yep, something like right after the terrorists flew through the Twin Towers.
It feels like that long.
It does feel like that long. However, there is a nice sentimental moment here because you gave me that Pick-a-Flick, and I sent that message to Doug and said, "You've got to see this movie." and he started looking at that movie, or he watched the movie, or he didn't, I don't remember, and I texted him and I said, hey man, you should come do this podcast with us. You like movies like I do. You should come do this. So really, this movie is the start of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years later, man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we all love this movie. So, hey, Lee, take it away, brother.
Well, this is from 2017. This is my favorite movie of 2017. It is directed by Craig Zahler, or S. Craig Zahler, I should say. It is Brawl in Cell Block 99. It's a very, it's a simple movie. Guy, works for a drug dealer, gets sent to prison, and his wife is pregnant, and the drug dealer who lost some product when he went to prison basically orders him to kill somebody in this certain prison, to basically save his wife's life. It's a movie you could write the plot on the back of a matchbook, but it's by no means. I mean, it's just when they say they don't make them like that anymore, they don't make movies like this anymore. Doug was talking about the idea of toxic masculinity. This is radioactive masculinity. It is beyond toxic. It is just. I mean, this is just a man-ass movie.
Yeah, if you're a little bitch, if you don't like, then just don't fucking bother.
This is
that should be the quote on the box. If you're a little bitch, don't even bother with this movie.
Because that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to be fucked with, it's not to be haggled with or brought down on your level. Zahler just is like, all right, man, here's this story. Do with it.
You're exactly right. And there's so many reviews where they talk about how he's racist and he's this and this, he's that. Those aren't flies. They're fruit flies, and I don't know where they came from, and I'm sorry.
They're coming from here, from your...
You bring them.
No,
you
the fuck I don't.
Them. I promise you. So anyway, there's a lot of people out there that really...
Flies nest.
I don't know, man. They give him a bad rap. They say it's racist and this and this and this. And I'm like...
What's racist about this?
You're exactly right. This is appalling. And I'm like, this is perfect. I would never, if I had wrote Brawl and Cell Block 99, and I had a script, and I walked into every fucking studio, even private money, and put that thing down and said, I want to do this movie, that script wouldn't win one film festival. It would not win one screen.
I don't care how many festivals it wins. It wins
out.
my heart. It won my heart.
Just hear me out.
It won my heart.
Stop interrupting me. Hold on a second. You take that script. It's so unconventional that it is, and anybody that read that, they wouldn't get past page number 20 because it's so incredibly simple and it's so incredibly executed. Craig Zahler, I don't know where he got his money for Bone Tomahawk. Oh, I know exactly. He had money. That's right. He paid. Actually, he was already rich. He probably paid out of his own money. But that's how he can make these movies. Brawl and Cell Block 99, the Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 are so incredibly, skewed where they're supposed to be. And it doesn't matter. It's the best fucking movie ever. And it's so, like you said, it's so incredibly simple. You can't even. You're right. You could write the plot on a beverage napkin at a bar, and
right.
he friggin' killed it.
Well, writing and directing your own thing, you know above what you have written down, not only what you want it to sound like, but what you want it to look like as well. And you talk about the script in this. As far as I'm concerned, there is no script. There is no dialogue. This movie doesn't need dialogue.
Right. You're right. You're almost right.
100%. It's all in the emotion. It's all in the violence and how it escalates. There's dialogue to transition from one scene to another, but you can put this motherfucker on mute, and I can still get...
Exactly.
I can still get from the fucking beginning to the end.
Say that, Doug.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
can
a
show
silent
this movie to somebody who doesn't speak English and they would get it.
Yes. 100%.
You know. And to go back to talk about the racism, okay, I think there are characters in this movie who are racist, but I don't think Bradley is. Because there's a moment in the beginning of the movie when he's driving in his Dodge Charger or whatever it is, when he's at the stoplight and he's delivering drugs for a drug dealer, crack, meth, what have you, and he looks across the street and he sees this homeless crackhead. This guy sitting at a bus stop. He clearly doesn't have any teeth. He's just sitting there scratching his dirty skin, and the way Vince Vaughn plays it goes on. It just goes by in a second. The way Vince Vaughn plays it, when he looks at him, he's like, I partially did that. But then the light turns green, he just goes on about his day. He doesn't. The movie doesn't dwell on it. It's a very quick moment.
Right.
But there are these little human moments in it where you see he's a violent guy, and he's
righteous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a bad guy, but he's not a bad.
You're right, and dude, the best line in the movie that I actually used with my wife the other day when she asked me how I was feeling, when the black dude comes out of the garage and goes, "How you doing?" He says, "I'm south of good, north of cancer." I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's. I mean, and the black guy generally was worried about where he was going and what he was doing. Like, I don't know. I think it's just you know what, man? His first movie, The Bone Tomahawk, it's, he's on the Indians, and the Indians, chopped this dude from his nuts to his head. And just, I don't know, it is almost like Nicholas, who we'll get into it on the third week of this. It's just that ultra violence and just the way it is, it's just out there, and some people just don't like it, and people...
Well, those people are fucking cunts.
Yeah,
and they don't fucking deserve to... I'm glad they fucking hate this. Good, motherfucker.
Yeah, it kind of makes me like it more that they hate it.
Like, I got to the point in this movie, which is only, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 minutes in, where he goes bare knuckles on that fucking Mitsubishi 3000, to remember how the movie made me feel.
So that, and I want to get into that, man.
Like, it makes me feel like, it put me in like not a bad mood, not a good mood, it just put me in like this kind of zone where I was just like, I can't wait to watch this. I know what's going to happen. I know that it's not going to end well, and that bad shit's going to happen, but the journey... Dude, I'll take this journey every time. It's...
So, alright, as a director, or you guys as film buffs, that was the one scene I was trying to figure out. I'm like, did he just... So, instead of taking it out on her, he just took it out on the car? Is that what... He was just getting his frustration
out?
Yeah,
he had to get it out.
Taking it out on himself, man.
Because he couldn't do... He couldn't do it because he loved her so much. This was the only way he knew how to.
Well, and Zayler does a good job of alluding to things without going into a lot of detail. Like,
yes,
they allude to this time that they had before, where she was pregnant before, his wife was pregnant before, and had a miscarriage, but they were happy. But since then, everything has been.
Oh yeah, it's great, man. The way they
that's
little tweaks.
That's the kind of writing that I like. You can touch on something, but you don't have to show me everything inside of where you're taking me. Like, you can just give me a small little nugget like that, and it kind of instantly, in a sentence, explains the dynamic between him and his wife. Without having to go into great detail and be like, our 2-year-old Jessie that died, or what the fuck ever. You don't have to do all that bullshit.
In there, and it's funny because he sat in there and he was very patient with her. And
he's like, I think we just need to fix it.
Yeah,
we just need to. I think we need to get back to. I need to get back to where we were. You need to be pregnant again, and I need to get us out of this shitbox house. 18 months later.
And then he kills the guys. And the cop's like, you got a pregnant wife out here. And he's like, I'm not rolling. I will never roll. I will do it. Kind of like American History X, you know what I mean? I'm not going to roll. It does not matter.
Well, but he's, even the cop, when he initially gets arrested and brought in, and Vaughn already knows that he's fucked, the cop still looks at him and is like, every once in a while, he says something along the lines of like, every once in a while, I'll look across the table at somebody who could just as easily be on this side.
Yeah.
A man of principle.
Right.
And of conviction. Absolutely. And that's absolutely Vince Vaughn's character in this. He's a man of principles, and that's why he won't rat. He's going to do what the fuck needs to be done. He'll pay the price to ensure his daughter and his wife, survive this, and he does.
Yeah.
He does whatever.
And he goes to the minimum. He goes to. It's funny because he's like.
Are we just going to spoil this fucker for everybody? Because I don't know how you talk about it and not because
you're right.
It's that good. So if you've never seen this, go fucking watch it now. Pause this shit and then come back to it. Right.
Yeah, because honestly, man, the writing is so good. He tells her 5 years. Right? He tells her 5 years. The judge gives him 7, even after whatever he did. And he's kind of looking around like, dude, really? Did you?
Well, he says, he's like, you've never been charged. Like, you have no criminal record.
He threw the book at him. So then he gets 7 years, and he's like, all right, I'm going to be fine.
Question. Okay, we're talking about his principles. His conviction. Let's go as the movie goes. So, when the 2 Mexican guys that he's with hit him and grab that bag of fucking meth and run up to the parking lot and get ambushed by the cops, and he takes a couple steps back towards the boat and kind of looks, and then it's just like turns around and pulls his gun out. Why does he not? Is it like that moment in Heat where it's like just fucking yeah, it's like just stay on the interstate, and he's like, nope, I can't. Was it more like these guys fucked me over, I have to take them down, or was it more like if I leave, then my buddy's going to think that I did all this? And
it was loyalty to his. It was loyalty to his.
Is it loyalty to Gil?
And Gil. What sucks is Gil gave him the ultimatum. He was stuck, dude. He was stuck.
What do you think, Lee?
I think it was because the cartel guys he was dealing with, they had machine guns. And I think it was just he knew that all those cops were going to die, because even the detective he was talking about in the scene you were talking about mentioned how because of what he did, no police officers lost their lives. It was just, it was like we were talking about earlier. It was just a man's got to do what a man's got to do kind of moment.
It's his principles then.
Yeah, it's his principles.
But unfortunately, what's in the juxtaposition of that is simply because the police officer said, "Give us a name," and he wouldn't do that. So he had, you know what I mean? Like, he's on both sides of the fence. He's like, I'm not giving names. I'm not rolling.
Well, because being a fucking rat and a stool pigeon isn't necessarily being on the right side of principality.
He saved a lot of police's lives. Great, fine. But then the judge threw the book at him, and
that was a weird thing. I was like, well, now where's that detective? Why didn't he come and? Well, because I think the standard sentence...
the system.
I think
the system works.
Here's the thing about Bradley. Beyond... I think that he was a risk versus reward guy. He knew what he was looking at if he got caught at all times in everything that he did. That's why, when he left the drug house and that car, he goes and parks it off in the woods and puts a fucking camo blanket over it. He was very calculated, and he knew, and when his wife's like, well, what are you looking at? He's like, well, I'm looking at 4 years, maybe 5, and I will serve almost every day of this.
Yep.
Because it's a drug thing.
And he said 4 or 5.
Right, which is what the detective told him, but I think he knew that beforehand. I think he weighed it when he was on the dock.
Right.
And was like, I can go over here and end this and serve 4 years, hopefully.
Right, but the black judge gave him 7 years.
Well, the odd thing is,
fuck yourself.
With the baby thing, even a man of principle, I don't think would have done that.
But Craig Zahler, so you're right. He has that the cop. He tells his wife it's going to be 5 years, and then it cuts to the scene. They give him 7 years. That's it doesn't have to be explained. It's the system, and it's the judge. Yeah. Dude, one judge will give you probation. The next judge will give you fucking 10 years of hard time.
Well, that's kind of the.
I think that's what he did. Like, he's like,
well,
I'm going to make it worse. I'm just going to make it worse because it doesn't make sense.
That's a problem in this.
Right.
I mean,
and that's what Craig Zahler was doing with the writing. Was he had already said 4 or 5 years? Okay, 4 or 5 years, and then the judge says 7 years, and you're going to do it all. And he's
maybe.
And there was that close up of Vince looking like. Really?
Well, I think the detective said 4 or 5 years because he had nothing on his record. But because of what the crime was and because of the drugs and all that and what the drugs
and there were guns involved.
Right, is why he was like, guess what? I'm going to ramp it up and give you this. I don't think it was because of any other reason. So.
Okay, well, whatever. Let's call. Hey, does anybody have Craig Zahler's number?
Should we
call him and ask him what his motivation was behind that scene?
If I did, I wouldn't be talking to you two guys.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes, you would, because Roy Cooper doesn't make movies in North Carolina, Big Daddy. Craig Zahler would be like, you have to move to Los Angeles, and you might be able to hold a reflector for me. Anyway. All right, so, listen. This movie is absolutely incredible.
Where are we at in it? Let's just go fucking through it, man. Let's just fucking take our scalpels and dissect the motherfucker. Because it is that. No, I think we probably half-assed it before.
Don Johnson, when Don Johnson shows up
this movie could have been made in the 1970s. It could have been made in the 1980s. The fact that it was made in 2017 is amazing. What's even more amazing, and I didn't look to see what it cost, but this movie only made, and I hate to even say it, it was like less than $70,000.
$64,000.
It probably
because nobody wants to stand behind something like this.
Because where's all right? So,
other than the writer and the
here
director.
We go. So here we go, guys. Where does Act 1 end?
It doesn't.
Act 1.
Oh, god damn it!
Come on, dude.
Oh, god damn it! I'm not playing this fucking writing game with you. Everything doesn't have to be diagrammed and fit into a box.
You're forgetting that I love this movie. So tell me where does Act 1 end?
When he gets arrested.
I would say even before then.
40 minutes into the movie.
Act 1 ends at the point they do the time jump from 18 months.
Okay, I can see that.
From when he finds out his wife's running around on him, he rips up her fucking Mitsubishi.
Agreed.
And then it's 18 months to that part.
Good. Doug wins the ball. That's right. Act 1 is when he gets off the couch and he says, I have to do something.
You agree with me?
Yep.
Can I change it? Can I change my answer? No? Okay.
That's the truth, though. That's what Act 1 is. That's in 15, 16 minutes.
Right.
So,
you see a glimpse of who he is, or who he can be, when he rips that car apart.
Correct.
He's still cool, he's still under control, but he's got some shit in his hands that he needs to bang around. You know, and that, you see that later. Like, he has opportunities to get guns or to do this, to do that, but he's a fucking fist fighter.
So the entire Act 2 is from the starting to sell drugs to where he ends up at cell block 99.
No.
Right.
No. No.
I agree with Lee. That's right.
No. Act 2 runs until the guy that works for the drug dealer comes and sees him in prison. Because up to that point, he thinks he's doing 7 years. But when he has that conversation with that guy that works for the former drug boss, who's like, if you don't find a way to get to Redleaf and find a way to get to Cell Block 99, then you're gonna get packages of your baby's limbs. You know, Act 2 to me ends when he says, can you give me any guarantees? And he says, yes, I can guarantee you're gonna get a box with your fucking daughter's limbs in it if you don't do what we ask.
But Act 3 is the resolve.
But I'm saying from up to that point, up until he has that conversation, he is in for a 7-year stretch, and he knows that. He's accepted that fact. When that changes, his everything changes.
Right. Sure.
And that's when the act changes for me.
Okay.
And then it's the resolution, or the fight for the resolution is from that point to when he gets off the phone with his girl.
So the exercise on this is that's exactly, you know, when people talk about Hollywood and Hollywood movies, you have to have an Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. I don't think this one knows where the acts are, and it doesn't even matter. That's how good it is. Like, that's how good it is. I'm with Lee. I think Act 3 comes when he waltzes into 99, and the resolve. He has to resolve it. And this actually brings up my only problem with this movie.
Yeah, but
he really did just kind of walk like, conveniently, here we go.
But not conveniently, man. He's a nice guy, man. He didn't want to do any of these things. They're like, you've got to figure out a way to get over to Redleaf. You're in the fucking minimum security over here.
But what if the jail would have said, hey, you're not going to Redleaf, you're going to fucking Alexander County. And you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not where I need to go. I need to go to Redleaf.
Well, I took it as that was something like, if he did something violent, like when he breaks the guard's arm, that Eleazar, the drug dealer, would have pulled some sort of strings to get him there.
Right. Okay.
It's the worst prison around.
Don Johnson, when they originally give him his cell number, Don Johnson corrects it to another cell number. So I think the cartel guys were pulling strings to get him there.
Yes, you're right. And it's never said and never told, and that's all.
No.
And it works.
Just like about what happened. Just like about what happened with their previous kid when she was pregnant. They give you a little nugget, but they don't have.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the kind of writing that I like.
And I love it too.
Don't over-explain it.
Trust me, dude. But that's what I'm saying. So we just did some film school stuff. Act 1, and people, you got a script. They're gonna pass it. They're gonna be like, "What's Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3?" Craig Saylor. And they're gonna say Act 1 needs to end on 20 pages, and Act 3 needs to start at 90. Craig Saylor's script for this probably didn't work that out, but it didn't matter because it was so good.
His script for this could have been 15 fucking pages long.
You're exactly right.
It doesn't even matter. Because he knew what he wanted it to look like, and that's the best thing.
That's right. So we're running really late, but I have to run. I have to read this review from Domesticated Primate. I watch this movie constantly, repeating that, questioning to myself, I can't believe I was fooled by a reviewer here that actually stated that this was the best movie they'd seen all year, Lee. There are scenes that are so bad I couldn't tell if they've intentionally been put in there for comedic effect or they were intended to be serious. One such scene is when the main character, Bradley, played by Vaughn, dives into a body of water only to reemerge seconds later, bone dry. Huh? I don't remember that. It was honestly like an amateur teenager had directed it and spent the entire budget on Vaughn's fee. By the end, they couldn't even be bothered to use any special effects or opted to use crash test dummies. It takes more than shocking violence to make a movie. I've seen it being compared to a Tarantino flick, but at least his movies have substance and great quotable dialogue. Fans of B movies may enjoy, but for me, it was so bad, it was comical.
Okay. So this guy wears his mom's dresses. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, look.
I guarantee it's no fun at all.
You're gonna sit here and fucking be like, I'm watching this so intently that I saw Vaughn crawl out of the water, and then the next shot where he comes up and shoots this dude in the fucking back, he's not sopping wet. I'm calling bullshit. What a fucking asshole.
I didn't even notice that.
Fuck you, whoever the fuck you are.
Yeah. Yes, this movie...
You can find things like that in every single fucking Tarantino movie I've ever seen. All you have to do is be an asshole and watch it fucking over and over again. Just like you did this one. Right?
That's right.
Right.
Guys, I'm going to say this. Anybody listening, this may be one of the best movies we've covered in 2 years. I implore you, if you have not seen this movie, to watch this movie. Am I wrong?
And I've heard a lot of other people compare it to Tarantino, but the two guys I would compare it to would be John Milius and Walter Hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is nothing.
It's like if you like mix those two guys together, this is the movie that would come out.
Yeah, the dialogue doesn't back up anything Tarantino.
Yeah.
But if you listen to a lot of the dialogue, it is witty in some points.
Oh, dude, he had some great moments when he broke the dude's arm.
But it's
and
not.
Like, you want some revenge? You want some revenge fighting? And Vince has got his hands up, and he's like, he's going to have to use his left hand for that.
Yeah, just, but that's not what the movie is. The movie is about following this crazy Vince Vaughn who is surprisingly fucking effective as shit as this badass ex-boxing motherfucker that has conviction.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
You get to a point in this where you're like, well, how far is he going to go? And when he gets to the red leaf and fucking fucks that guard's arm up and gets out in that yard and just, he's like, oh, how do I get to Subblock 99? Oh, you've never heard of this guy and you don't, that's where the worst are? Okay, well, I've got to go over here. And the guy's like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I ain't got time for this shit.
Right.
Because the only thing he's worried about at that point is, his girl and his girl.
Exactly.
The koala. I mean, dude, it's fucking awesome, dude.
It is.
Best movie? I'm not going to say that. I never like to throw out a best movie when it's something like this because this isn't for everybody.
Right. It's one of the best movies we've reviewed.
But if you can't say that, you cannot sit here with a straight face.
This is our podcast.
But you cannot. You can't sit here with a straight face and tell me that this is one of the best movies that we've watched. You can't do that. It might be one of your favorites, but it's not.
That's why I say favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't say best.
Sure. Okay, sure enough.
I mean, I'm with you, but
I retort.
But I'm just saying, like, it's not for everybody. Like, if
nor should it be.
Right. It's it just seems like something that was made 30 fucking years ago, not 3 years ago. And for that, I am thankful.
Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk, same thing. Dragged Across Concrete, not so much. I'm going to revisit that one. But I'm a big Sailor fan. He writes them, he directs them. Dude.
Even the old R&B songs that are sung by the 70s group, the OJs, he wrote all those songs. Because Craig Sailor was a drummer in a metal band before he became a film director.
It just has a different feel, man.
Yeah.
It just has a different feel.
It could have been made in 1975.
And I wouldn't be the least bit shocked. But my favorite part about this movie is the fact of how effective Vaughn is. It has nothing to do with the dialogue or anything like that. It's just putting a guy that's 6'5" and a funny man,
right,
into this fucking role and him seamlessly. Like, after the initial fucking time that like at the very beginning when he gets out of the tow truck And the guy's like, I need you to come to the office. And he's like, you can say whatever you got to say to me out here, it's fine. From that moment on, I never questioned Vaughn in this role. And it only, gets better the longer it goes, and the more he puts into it, the more he is willing to do whatever he has to do. He's fucking awesome in this, man.
Oh, absolutely. When he
Awesome in this, dude.
When he drags that dude's face. Oh, my God.
Fucking Johnny Woo or Johnny Hugh or whatever the fuck, yeah. It's just the best.
And he tells those guys, he's like, the drug, God, what's his name? Anyway, he's like, I'll pay you double. And he's like, maybe I can chip in on your funeral. And he just starts fucking them up.
Yeah.
Dude. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And he looks like a big, slow goofball, but he's not.
But it works.
He's fucking abominable, dude. I love this character. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we just talked an hour.
It's fun.
All right. Cool. So, did you watch anything else worth it?
I did. I watched a couple of things that I'll talk about. Nothing really great. So I've got an admission. I've never seen one of the movies that I watched, but gets around Halloween time, you keep seeing it on people's lists, and I saw a video with Jack Black, and he was playing this song from it, and I was like, I'm gonna see if I can find this and fucking just sit down and fucking watch it. So, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Never seen it before. Never seen it. What? No, never seen it. And, I guess I understand why it's got such a fucking crazy following 45 years after it was made, but it is super fucking weird. And I don't know, man. It's nothing I'll ever revisit or recommend really to anybody, but
it's like Grease. It's a cult thing. It's a weird thing.
The weirdest part, man, is I couldn't understand half of what anybody was saying.
Sure.
Sitting there, I was like, man, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know. Whatever. Then
I'll be honest with you, it's not a good movie.
No, it's just, I think it's more just like it's a theme.
And I dispute its cult status.
Yeah, it's a thing. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I thought maybe it was, I don't know. You hear about they have these big showings and people come dressed up and they do all this stuff. I didn't know what to expect. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And why would somebody fucking do that? I have no idea. All right, I'm good.
Really? It's Rocky Horror, though.
Yeah,
it's like an event.
Yeah.
It's like Grease.
Yeah, it is.
If you say so.
It sure is.
It's
okay.
Some people love this. This is a huge thing.
I guess. All right.
Exactly, and that's why it's not a cult movie.
Okay.
Are you telling me that the Corporation spent millions of dollars keeping this movie showing for 40 years just because people loved it? No, they did it because they made lots of money off of it. A cult movie is a movie that
survives,
builds over time. Yeah, exactly.
Survives.
If Night of the Living Dead is the Beatles' White Album of cult movies, then Rocky Horror Picture Show is Nickelback's greatest hits. It's a cult movie for people who would never watch cult movies.
Yeah,
it's a fake. Its cultness to me is fake. You know why? Because everybody knows about it.
True.
If you look at the amount of money it's made over the past 40 years, I'm sure it's astronomical.
Oh, I'm sure it is too. And I just didn't know, and now I know.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Because I saw a video the day before of Jack Black and fucking Tenacious D playing Time Warp or Time fucking something from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was like, man, fuck, I've really never seen that. And you see it on people's like, oh, it's Halloween, I always watch this. I don't know why the fuck you'd ever watch that at Halloween.
Really?
Really? Sorry.
Once again, it's gonna be. I'm gonna say it. I agree with Doug.
That's 2 fucking weeks in a row,
This is becoming more and more frequent.
So I was after I watched that. I was gonna watch Repo the Genetic Opera because I figured why the fuck not. But luckily I couldn't find it streaming anywhere where I didn't have to pay for it, so I did not have an opportunity to see that. I've heard it's just as bad, if not worse. But it's just a more modern kind of incantation. So I'd seen a trailer on Netflix for something that, when I saw who directed it, I stayed away from it because I do not like this director whatsoever. It's a movie called The Babysitter I think it's from 2017. By Lee, one of Lee's, I know Lee loves this guy, McG. Anybody that, God.
Is this the Charlie Angels, McG?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got suckered in because it's got Samara Weaving in it, and she might be the most beautiful woman on the planet.
Who?
Samara Weaving. And, basic premise is this fucking 12-year-old dork has the hottest girl in town come and babysit for him all the time, and they're kind of like, quote-unquote, best friends. And his parents go out of town, and she tries to give him, like, this liquor shot, but he kind of smoothly, like, pours it into a plant, and then goes upstairs to go to bed. And about a half hour later, he hears raised voices downstairs, and he sneaks out of his room, and he's watching. There's about 6 people downstairs. They're playing Spin the Bottle, and then the next thing you know, one of them gets murdered. And it's like a bloodbath, and these people are part of this kind of blood cult. And as odd as it sounds, the first one, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of witty, thought it was kind of funny. And Weaving is, I mean, amazing. There's a second one called Babysitter Killer Queen that came out this year. It takes place a couple of years later. And it was just fucking horrible. And it's by the same director. I don't know if he just didn't give a fuck or what. It just seemed like he really tried during the first one to make it.
Sure.
And the second one, it was just like an appeasement, and you could tell it was fucking garbage. But the coolest thing I watched all fucking week, I was flipping around on Prime like I like to do, and I saw Porkys. The OG was on from 1982, and I have not seen it probably since 1983. This movie to me, in my mind, you know, when anytime anybody would bring up the name Porkys, or I would think about this movie in any kind of context, it's tits and ass for beginners, right? Sure. Is the way
absolutely.
You know, I was 7 or 8 years old when this came out. It was absolutely the first time I saw any kind of nudity, anything, or, you know, repeatable nudity, like. I'd see this, and then I'd look for the movie and see, I'd be like, "Oh man, that scene's coming again." You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Is it great? No, but is it great for a one-time, especially if you've never seen it? Absolutely. A lot of it, I didn't know what was going on. There's a scene with Kim Cattrall where she's like in this boy's locker room with this dude.
God, she was in that movie.
It's where it all started with me and her. Is this movie?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, and she's like, they're having sex, and she's trying to do these orgasm screams and squeals, and it's just terrible. I mean, it sounds the opposite of anything that you would like to think is going on in there, right?
Yes.
And for some reason, I could have sworn she got naked in this movie. She doesn't. That was a big fucking disappointment. But when you haven't seen something in, 37 or 8 years, I mean, I guess your mind kind of leads you to believe certain things are true that may or may not necessarily be true. So that's what I watched this week. Lee, did you have any time to watch anything?
I did. I to follow up on something you did last week, I made it 10 minutes into Cats.
You doubled my time?
I did.
Nice.
And
wow.
I don't really remember any of it.
See?
Other than it was just a bunch of cats jumping around and singing.
Oh.
The words they were saying didn't even make sense. It was just, I don't understand it.
Did you watch it with Bonnie, or did you try and do it yourself?
What's that?
Did you watch it with Bonnie, or did you?
I did. Bonnie and I both tried it, and I told her, I said, just whenever you want to stop it, just say stop, and we'll stop. And we paused it, and it was like 9 minutes, 30 seconds. 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Idris Elba shows up as a cat wearing a fur coat, which I can only assume is made out of a dead cat. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I will give the director credit, because Tom Hooper, the director of The King's Speech and all these other movies,
yes.
He's the most white bread director ever. He makes Ron Howard look like Abel Ferrara. That's how boring he is. And he made quite possibly one of the weirdest movies ever made, so good on him. Because
maybe, but we're never gonna know.
I'll never know. I'll never finish it. It was agony to sit through.
Oh God, it looked so strange and it was so dizzying. I was like, man, are they underwater? Why does it look like this? Why do I feel like I'm on a boat?
Yeah, and it's terrible. And I can't imagine. I think Warner Brothers or Universal probably spent $200 million on it, and I don't know why. Because the musical is like 30 years old, so it couldn't have been like. It's not like something people were dying for, But anyway, after that, I watched a TV show from the director of the Raid films, Gareth Edwards, called Gangs of London.
Nice.
And it's exactly what you think. It is, every 5 minutes there's a giant Steadicam action scene where a bunch of people just get obliterated. There's probably 3 action scenes per episode. And the only problem was if you're not someone who watches a lot of different foreign genre movies, because there are so many, like the main gang is a gang made up of Irish and Jamaican people from England. There's 2 Albanian gangs, a Pakistani gang, a Gypsy gang. Like, if you're not paying attention, you will get lost immediately. Because there's subtitles, there's accents, there's, people who kind of look the same. Like, which guy was that guy? Like, so if you're not paying attention, Gangs of London's going to lose you in a minute. Because it goes that there are flashbacks to go to 10 years ago in different countries where everyone's speaking a foreign language, but very well done. Very well done. Maybe the most, that's something how, even we have shows on HBO that are adult. English TV show don't give a shit. Apparently after 9 p.m. in England, you can show whatever you want on television. And they do in Gangs of London. It is remarkably adult, I'll say that. And other than that, I watched a Dutch, Belgian World War II movie called Torpedo U235, which the story is a group of Dutch freedom fighters are basically given a German submarine to deliver uranium to the Manhattan Project in New York. And the reason why it's called 235 is that was the grade of uranium that the government used to make the atomic bombs to drop on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So you got these guys who they know really nothing about submarines, and the captain of the ship is going to be trained by this German submarine captain that's been captured by the British. And of course, during the course of the training, the guy who's going to captain the boat for him gets killed, so they have to bring the Nazi with them. And I've probably only seen 3 or 4 Belgian movies in my life, But it kind of has that feeling of like a 60s World War II movie, like The Dirty Dozen or Kelly's Heroes or something. It was actually very good.
Okay.
And other than that, it's kind of something we were talking about, like the economic storytelling of Brawl in Cell Block 99. I watched the remake of Papillon, and I love the 70s Papillon with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. I probably watch it once a year. And to demonstrate what I'm talking about, the opening scene of the original Steve McQueen one is 11 minutes into the remake. And it's almost, a lot of the dialogue is exactly the same. But you have all this stuff that happens before he gets arrested that really means nothing. You know, Charlie Human from Sons of Anarchy plays the Steve McQueen part. He plays Papillon. And then he gets sent to, Devil's Island in French Guiana, which is, maybe the worst prison in history.
And Freddie Mercury is there, right?
Yes, the guy who plays Freddie Mercury plays the Dustin Hoffman role.
Yeah.
But it doesn't flow. Like, if you can watch that and the 70s version and the remake, it'll basically show you what not to do when remaking a movie. The original version has no fat on it whatsoever. It starts, he's arrested, he's being sent to French Guiana, and then just everything about it is so tight. This one there's so much fat on it, Just stuff that doesn't need to be there. But that's all I watched.
Okay. Garrick?
Well, I didn't watch anything.
You didn't watch the thing?
I'm just kidding. Alright, so, first thing I watched, Arkansas.
Oh, okay. That was one I reviewed a few months back.
Yes.
You didn't like it?
I did. I thought it was good, actually.
It's just a weird little thing.
Yeah, it's almost like Cell Block.
But the guy, the what's his fucking name? The guy, the director who also is in it, who's the...
Clark Duke.
Sorry? Dukes.
Clark
is fucking awesome, dude.
Yes.
And I like his character, and I like the way he kind of showed everything in that movie. Interesting.
Yeah, it is, and it's great. Like, it's right in the middle, man. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but I'm like, it's kind of like Cell Block, where it's the story's all over the place, but it works. That's good.
It's like one of those once every 5-year movies.
Yes.
It's like if I come across it, I'll be like, I might check this out again, because I don't really remember shit. I know they're drug dealers, some shit goes wrong, and they have to kind of play their way out of it. Yeah. Yeah,
and I like how he went back. Like, the flashbacks worked. Flashbacks never work.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Scorsese makes flashbacks work. Not many people can make flashbacks work. It really worked here.
Right.
What are you doing? Did we lose him?
No, I'm just watching these. It's got windows and stuff in his house. He's waving at people. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay.
Hey, his wife's
Is somebody coming over? Or?
There could be.
Okay. I didn't know if that was for us or what.
No.
Okay. Because I see people alone in cars driving around with them, and I question their sanity.
Right.
Anyway, Garrett, continue.
Okay.
You watched Arkansas. Liked
Yes.
it. Not great, but it's... I like Clark Dukes.
I think it would have been great after Pulp Fiction. Like, I think I would have loved it better in my 20s. Because I'm like, I don't know, it's different.
Yeah.
And so then, and everybody will definitely make fun of me for this one, but I don't care.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And not because it's good, but because it's relevant to my life. But the other night, I had a couple of drinks and watched 1996's Beautiful Girls.
Right.
Ted Demme, who is now deceased, and Scott Rosenberg was a writer. Man, it had Matt Dillon, Timothy Hutton. About a small town in New York where Timothy Hutton was working in New York, and he comes home to all his buddies, and mid-20s. light comedy, but for some odd reason, man, it always hit home for me because used to watch it. I'd come home from LA, it's one of those movies, man.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Really?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I think I always fucking skipped that son of a bitch.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I can still
It's
watch
not bad.
it every day.
I'm sure it's not, but I'm just saying.
You don't get these movies made, though. That the sad part is that as much as I love this movie, you will never get this movie made again.
I disagree with you on that, man. And Brawl in Cell Block 99 is the reason why. It's like, if somebody out there wants to make a movie like that, they're a good enough writer, they have somebody to direct it, or they can direct it, then it'll be made. It's not going to be thrown up on it's not going to be on the marquee. It's not going to be
right.
Hey, this is the thing this year where Beautiful Girls in what year, 96 or whatever.
Sure.
Probably was that thing, but as much as we say on here, that'll never be done again, or movies like this are never made, won't be made anymore. After watching Cell Block, I just feel like these kinds of off-the-cuff movies are out there. They're just not in the mainstream. I feel like they can be found, and, it's our job to find them and prop them up.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if Ted Demme wouldn't have had... so basically Scott Rosenberg and Ted Demme went out and grabbed Michael Rappaport.
Is it the people who are in it that make it more than it is the story itself?
Or hell, they might sit around in some Hollywood bar and do some coke.
That's what I'm asking.
Hey man, look at the script, and they look at it and go, "Hey, Matt Dillon could walk into any place, anywhere. I could bring Matt Dillon to Hickory, to this office, and bring a bunch of rich people here and go, hey, Matt Dillon's going to be in my movie. I need $200,000, $600,000.
I loved you in Something About Mary. Will you sign this?
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But those movies get made, and people like them. Like me, man. Like, Beautiful Girls is huge. It's one of those movies where I'm like, dude, I just want... it was one of those things where I'm like, I had a couple of drinks, and I got all like, oh, man, wouldn't it be cool to be 25 years old again? Oh, cool, let's watch this.
Of course, that's why I don't watch movies like that, because they put me on fucking suicide watch. Just kidding, but yeah. Yeah.
That's all I watched.
You watched Beautiful Girls, and that's it.
Yeah, and Arkansas.
In Arkansas. All right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm pretty busy.
You sound busy.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Okay. All right. So, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's almost time to start recording our next episode. We've been here so long.
99 Cent. Okay, I'll throw something out that I've been watching.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've had a lot of people tell me to start this, but I hadn't. And finally, the other night, I just said fuck it and took the green pill, and I started watching Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Woo!
And
it's so good.
They're 10 episode seasons. The first and second season are on Netflix. The third season comes out in January, I believe. And the first 8 episodes are fucking amazing.
Awesome.
But after that, episode 9 and 10 are terrible. Everything in the second season is...
What?
I can't promote it.
Are you kidding me?
Just watch the first 8 and then stop.
I watched them all.
Here's why.
You have to drag it out.
Look, dude. The first 8 episodes of this show, they do an amazing job of destroying all the stereotypes that you have about the characters that are still alive in this universe, right?
Right.
And they do a fantastic job of it. It's light, it's funny, it's witty, it's great. It's everything I wanted it to be and more. But starting in episode 9, season 1, they start to bring those stereotypes back because it makes for an easier telling story. And then they extrapolate even more on those stereotypes in episode 10. And then at the end of the first season, when John Kreese shows back up, I hoped I wouldn't get what I ended up getting in season 2, but I ended up getting it. So my 99 center is Cobra Kai because of how fucking killer the first 8 episodes of this series are. After that, it's a mixed bag, but overall, I do not like where it is. 3rd season shows up, I think I saw somewhere early January.
Look
But-
at the shoes coming back. Where do we go with this?
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
Well, you text me and said that Tony LaRusso's a cunt.
Because he is. That's what was so great, is they made Daniel-san a fucking cunt.
Asshole.
The first fucking 8 episodes,
Right.
and then
it's Miyagi. Right.
they turn it into fucking Karate Kid part fucking who gives a shit. And that's not what I signed up for. If you're gonna call it fucking, like, see, the very first episode, I see fucking LaRusso's name in the marquee, right? He's first. And I was like, huh. But I loved how he was a secondary character. First 8 episodes. Then they dig this fucking zombie up and put him front and center at the end of the fucking season 1. And I think I got like 8 episodes into season 2 and I said, fuck this, I'm done. So, that's my 99 center. Watch it or don't, I don't give a shit. Cool as fuck first 8 episodes. After that, it's a fucking mixed bag.
I agree with that. I think they're going to go somewhere with...
Hey, and maybe something cool will happen in episode 9 and 10 in season 2. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Because I don't. But...
Oh, there you go. Okay, guys, well, so, ready? Welcome to Tales from the Video Store!
Episode 89, we're still here, motherfucker!
Jeez. Alright then, well, next week we'll be back with Avengement.
Ooh. We're digging in deep in these forged by the system movies.
Absolutely.
Okay. Alright. Scott Adkins.
My boy.
Good stuff.
That's Lee's fucking... It's on his fucking bathroom and closet doors, I guarantee it.
When he doesn't get laid and his wife goes to work.
He breaks out his Atkins posters.
Don't judge me.
I never would. That's how I was able to guess it.
Alright, well. Hey, if you hadn't voted, it's too late now because this will come out 4 days later.
Just be cool, man, no matter what happens. Like, don't blow a fucking... Don't go
The sun's gonna come up
overboard.
tomorrow.
Yeah, don't go overboard, man. No matter who wins the election, it doesn't mean the end of the fucking world for anyone.
That's correct.
Right?
Keep watching those movies.
Keep
Wash
watching.
your hands, and we'll see you next week. Hey, this is Garrick from Tales from the Video Store. Thank you so much for listening.